Well, the list is coming out. I know everyone was like, oh, he must be a good guy. Trump's got him for a lawyer. I wanted to throw up. All he needs is slit eyes and he would be the snake he is. You want to see something really, really strange? Watch this little snake swerve and wiggle and chase his own tail to get out of the mess he's in.
Professor, you are mentioned in this document. You are mentioned repeatedly and very specifically.
Oh, face starts to fall. You're mentioned in this document. Face begins to fall. You're mentioned repeatedly. Falls a little bit more. He's really struggling to keep that smile on his face. A little weasel.
It was the allegation against you was that Epstein forced then minor Jane Doe number 3 to have sexual relations with you, and that all.
They cut off right there and put it to the side to see if I can catch him completely doing it.
It was the allegation against you was that Epstein forced then minor Jane Doe number 3 to have sexual relations with you, and that also you were not
to have sexual relations with you. The whole body now slides back. It looks like he relaxes, but it's like it was all tight in the front, and now it's sliding backwards to get away. Because he's a dirty, dirty man.
Eyewitness to sexual abuse of other minors by Epstein.
Sexual abuse and his lips. It's like, smile. He cannot help himself. Sexual. Oh, yeah. Probably not the abuse part that he's smiling, just the word sexual.
You have been out there vigorously defending your name, your honor, and denying these allegations fiercely. And I want to give you a chance now that it's come out in writing tonight to get your reaction.
Well, first of all, the woman who accused me has now stated categorically that she may have misidentified me, confused me with someone else. And these documents, if all the documents are revealed, will prove categorically that she did misidentify me, that I never met her, never heard of her, never spoke to her. And I can prove it by independent means. I have all my travel records. I have all my television appearances. I can prove that I couldn't possibly have been anywhere near any of the people who were involved in this. I was Epstein's lawyer. Of course I flew on his plane with Ken Starr, with Roy Black, with other lawyers.
You know, I was sitting there and let it play a little bit too long, but I was looking, well, I've got all my travel records, and he's smiling. I got all my TV appearances. And it's like, okay, I know how fast you can travel in a plane. And I don't think Epstein's plane is the only plane that landed at Epstein Island. Am I the only one that sits there and thinks that, you know, all these billionaires, they got their own damn planes and helicopters and private yachts? Well, you can only come to Epstein Island if you come on the Lolita. They can't even go to a WEF thing without them all bringing their own damn planes for clout.
We flew to meetings with the U.S. attorney, with the state attorney. And so people have to be very careful about what they're believing and when it happened. For example, as soon as Epstein was shown to be what he was, I ended my personal association with him completely, but I maintained a legal relationship with him.
He's got the believe me look that stays up. I maintained the legal relationship with him.
Represented some of the worst people in the world and continue to do so. That's my life.
And then continues up higher when he talks about he represents the worst people in the world. That's my life.
Of course, I represented Epstein. Now, the one point I do want to make is that I understand all the feminist groups and the radicals who think this is the worst thing in the world, that anybody ever had any contact with Jeffrey Epstein. Where are all those radical feminists when it comes to the Hamas rapes of young Jewish girls, sexual abuse, beheadings? They are quiet. They are silent. The incredible...
Now, this is where it's amazing for this... Oh, snake is too kind of a word. He gets louder. He brings out his finger. He starts coming closer and closer to the camera with every word that he throws at it, turning the tables on how dare they call him a rapist when Hamas is raping Jewish girls. Basically, all he is doing is changing the subject. That's all. He's just changing the subject. Let's not talk about my crime. Let's talk about someone else's crime. And because he's allowed in this program to do that, he can stand on solid footing because he's allowed to change the subject.
Hypocrisy of the Me Too movement. Me Too, except if you're a Jew. And I want to have a list of all the radical feminists
The other part of his verbal, he's a Jew and therefore he's got victim status. Shall we move on?
who are pushing hard, and I understand that, to get all these names revealed. And I want to know how many of them have ever actually condemned Hamas for the rapes that we now know occurred and the murders that occurred. How many have been silent, and how many, like the National Lawyers Guild, have actually approved of what Hamas did? So let's put this in context. I'm thrilled that all these papers have come out. I urged them. I went to court. I asked for everything to come out because I knew that I had done nothing wrong.
I knew I had done nothing wrong. Can you see the whites of his eyes as he says that? I had done nothing wrong. He sits back. He's already changed the subject on you and played his victim card. He gives you the whites of his eyes, pretty much browbeating you to accept his version of events. Or I should say, not really his version of events, but his idea of how your mind is supposed to work.
And the papers would exculpate me. What I only worry about is that maybe the judges withheld certain documents. I want to make sure every single document comes out, including the documents that cast doubt on the credibility of some of the accusers and some of the accused. The public has the right to see everything and make their own judgment. We do not put the country at guilt by.
I just want to sit there and say this whole thing because he's got firm footing on that one. As far as his body language goes, he does not give out that huge, believe me, look, the whole idea of doubt on the accusers. But he, as working with Epstein, went around gathering evidence on these girls, these damaged girls, and their life. And those of you who know anything about damaged people, they don't make very good decisions. And they used that so that they were not considered good witnesses in court.
Accusation, but guilt by association.
But by the way, I think that is fair.
Oh, and that little sly smile on his face. Why is it a sly smile? Because what I just told you worked in those cases.
I still, like you, believe that in the presumption of innocence, and I don't rush to judgment. And frankly, on many,
he's worked himself up so bad that he is breathing hard.
High-profile cases in this country, this show, starting with Richard Jewell, we've been right. We were right about Duke Lacrosse. We were right about UVA. We were right about Ferguson, Missouri, and Freddie Gray in Baltimore, because I didn't rush to judgment, and I had impeccable sources. I have known you for years. I don't really know why you like to defend these high-profile clients. Everybody certainly deserves a defense, including Mr. Epstein, including O.J. Simpson, and you and I had wars over Bill Clinton back in the day.
Sure.
You've taken on these high-profile cases. Why? And do you regret it at all? And did you ever see anything untoward about Mr. Epstein?
I never did, and I do regret having ever met Jeffrey Epstein because...
Negative head movement. I never did. Leans into the camera. Believe me.
And do you regret it at all? And did you ever see anything untoward about Mr. Epstein?
I never did.
And I mean, believe me, in the believe me look.
And I do regret having ever met Jeffrey Epstein.
I do regret never met Epstein. His shoulders go all the way back and he sits back. No, he don't. I can't do this, man. I almost wanted to throw up when we had to do him for the impeachment trials. Society at large, who refuse to hear truth because they can't handle it, is the reason why people like me don't really push too hard, just so that we hope that one day you open your eyes. And now I am so glad society has opened its eyes. I've got a few other people on my list that I can't wait to bite into.
If you like it, please share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
If you'd like to learn more about analysing body language, there is a video course available on Mandy's website for gold subscribers.